Let me also tell every police officer who wakes up early, puts their lives on the line to be able to secure our children, our families, and our nation, that as you do that, we will equally, and we are equally obligated to make sure that we secure your families, your children, and yourself. And the government of Kenya, and myself as president, I will make sure that in the discharge of your duties, every security officer is equally secured by the people of Kenya. We cannot have a country where criminals are running after police officers, where police officers are fleeing because their lives are in danger. If the life of a police officer is in danger, then whose life is safe? The moment we allow the life of a police officer who is supposed to secure our children and our families to be in danger, then our children and families and nation is not safe. Let's just put it that way. And therefore, we have a responsibility and an obligation to make sure that those who secure our families, children, and nation are secure themselves. Yes, you cannot secure others if you are not safe. And for our men and women in uniform to be safe, we must give them the equipment for them to be safe so that they can secure our nation, our families, our properties, and our children. I want to ask citizens, if you threaten the police, if you harm the police who are supposed to provide security for you and your families and your children, you are actually setting up yourself for failure. Because once you do not have security provided by the state, then gangs are going to take over. Instead of the rule of law, we will have the rule of something else. For us to have a secure nation, we must first secure the people who provide security for us. They must be safe. There is no way a person who is under siege, a person who is threatened, a person who is insecure and unsafe, there is no way they can secure anybody or make any place safe. Officers, I want to tell you, it is our responsibility as a nation. It is my responsibility as president to make sure that you are safe, your families are safe, so that you can secure and make our country safe. And that I will do, and I will go out of my way. I am going to stand for every man and woman in uniform who is doing the duty of securing our families, children, and nation. I will be there to make sure that they are not threatened, that they are safe, their children are safe, and their families are safe. Because that is the only way they can in turn secure our nation, our families, and our children. And I will mobilize every source of government to make sure that this nation is safe. It cannot be business as usual. If 80 police vehicles have been burnt, when tens of police stations have been burnt, uniforms stolen, firearms stolen, it cannot be business as usual. It cannot be business as usual. We have to agree that things must change. For us, as government, for the security agencies, and for citizens as well. We are going to change the way we do business so that we can have a nation to live in. We have a nation with great potential. Kenya is a wonderful nation. It is our responsibility to make this nation great. And I have no doubt in my mind, challenges notwithstanding, I have no doubt in my mind that this nation is going to change for the better, and we are going to move this country to the next level. I am determined and I am persuaded that Kenya is going to change for the better. We have a societal issue. We have a challenge that we will attend to as parents, as leaders, religious, political, and all other leaders. The challenge we have with our children is a challenge that cannot be sorted out by government. It cannot be sorted out by police. It has to be a whole of society engagement. We have to get a whole of a society engagement so that we can deal with the societal problem we have. We will have a conversation with the judiciary and all the other actors, members of parliament. I think it is time we have a law that will regulate how we carry out demonstrations in Kenya. We must protect the right of those who want to demonstrate, picket, and protest. But equally, we must also protect the right of those who don't want to participate in the demonstration. They want to go about their business. They want to go to work. They want to do their, they want to carry out their other responsibilities. There must be room for everybody. And as has been suggested, we must have places like what happens globally. You know, protests cannot be in other people's businesses. Protests cannot be in schools or places where people are doing other things. We must have designated areas with time, place, and those organizing. And those organizing protests must be decent enough to provide whatever it is that is at issue so that it can be attended to. So I am sure Parliament is going to provide the legislation for us to make sure that all the provisions of the Constitution are respected, those of protesters and those who, the people who are not protesters. Designated areas so that there is no destruction of people's property, there is no loss of life because it is not necessary. Protests, as per the Constitution, must be peaceful and must be undertaken by people who are unarmed. What we saw last week were riots. They were not protests. People armed with all manner of weapons, threatening the police, beating up citizens, burning shops. That is not what is allowed in the Constitution. That is criminal. That is an act of terrorism against citizens of this country. And we have a duty and a responsibility to deal with it firmly decisively, conclusively.